Why do people hate this movie? I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, is it a masterpiece? No. Does it have issues? Yeah. Is it ripping off Sky High? Oh yeah. But I just don't get it. I don't get the hate for this movie. I'm talking about Zoom, Academy of Superheroes. A title that doesn't really make sense because Zoom is not the name of the Academy, but that's what they would have you believe is named of it. Zoom is the name of Tim Allen's superhero character, his superhero name. Is the superhero name of Tim Allen's character. Zoom. Is your name Jack. Jack Shepard. And no, not Jack Shepard from Lost, which was still on the air, by the way. No. And yes, clearly Sony was trying to capitalize off the popularity of Sky High. Did it work? No, because people hated on this film. I watched it when this came out back in the day in 2006, and I can tell you then and I tell you now, it's not that bad. Sure, there's some very much, jokes you throw in any kind of movie. There's fart jokes, there's booger jokes, boogers, fart. Hey, look at that! Look at Spencer Breslau's character. He's fat. Yeah, there's some problems with it, but overall, it's not that bad of a movie. I just don't get it. It has issues. Trust me, it has issues, but overall, it's not that bad. So the story here is that back in the 30 years before this, so 70s, 1976, I'm guessing. Back in the 70s, there was this team of 5 people. I don't know their names. But they were 5 teenagers, and they were trained to be superheroes, and the government thought that they weren't progressing enough, so they brought in what was called Gamma 13. Special kind of serum or something. And one of them... Now, so I got from the movie that they brought him in to do it, but they tried it on Concussion, which was the brother of Tim Allen's character, and it turned him evil, so they didn't do it on the rest. That's what I got, but apparently they used it on all of them, which doesn't really make much sense. If it turns you evil, wouldn't it do that to all of them? I'm just saying. Well, Concussion was so powerful that he killed everyone except for Tim Allen, and Tim Allen Zoom had to spin around really, really fast, and it sent him into a different dimension. But now, all these years later, 30 years later, he is coming back through to this dimension. So now, the government has decided to bring in a new Zenith team to take on this threat, and to bring back Zoom. Well, they just realized that it doesn't really make much sense anyway. Like, these kids are never going to be prepared enough. So it's always going to lead back to the Gamma 13. And they don't even trust Zoom enough to tell him his brother's coming back. So I don't know. You got Rip Torn as this authoritarian figure. By the way, everything with Chevy Chase, I laughed at verbatim. It was so funny. Chevy Chase. Like in this opening scene where he's talking to him, he's like, he's... Concussion? He's dead. He's dead. Nope. It's concussion. He's coming back. Well, that's impossible. Nope. He's dead. Nope. I made me laugh. And there's a scene later where they're messing with him in this environment where they can control the weather or something. It's a weather experiment, but there's also a skunk button. I don't know. Now, it's also confusing a little bit, like, not confusing, but it's... So, they show us the 4 main characters that's going to be in the group, right? They focus on these 4. Dylan, played by Michael Cassidy, who you may know, I know, from Smallville. I can't tell you who the character is, because spoiler, but he was also in Batman v Superman. It's Jimmy Olsen. You only know that if you watch the extended version that was supposed to go to theaters, Warner Brothers. But I also see how that would cause problems because why would they kill off Jimmy Olsen like that? I'm a fan of Jimmy Olsen. They just, Summer, played by Kate Mara, who would later go on to be in the terrible Fan Four Stick, but is also in the underrated Urban Legends Bloody Mary. Yeah, it's an underrated film. Shut up. Interesting enough, though, there is a scene where she is in like a library with headphones on, talking to Dylan, and there's like a flirting scene. And it was like, wait a minute, did Fox steal this for Fan Four Stick later? Because it's not verbatim, but I could see him going, so, you like music? Like he says in that movie. But it's very similar. It's like they took inspiration from this for some reason. There is forgot his name, Tucker, played by Spencer Breslin, who you may know, who also starred with Tim Allen in Santa Claus 2 and 3, and you may know from what's the other movie he's in? He was the voice of the leader of Timo Supremo. What was the other movie? I had it earlier and I forgot. Oh, the Disney Channel original movie You Wish, that I already reviewed, so go look for that. And then there is Princess. What's her name? I forgot her name, but she's called Princess. Played by Ryan Newman, another race car driver, a little girl who was in Zeke and Luther, an underrated Disney XD show, and also See Dad Run, which was an okay sitcom starring Scott Baio in the 2000s for Nick at Night. And she was Max's girlfriend. Max's girlfriend on the Thundermans. So she's done some things. We also have Courtney Cox as Miss Holloway, who secretly has powers. Yeah. So we see, like I said, we see these 4 teenagers first. By the way, we get a Thomas F. Wilson cameo as Dylan's teacher as he turns up. We see all their powers manifesting and everything, and then after they bring Zoom in. By the way, the introduction to where Zoom is now. He's running a garage called Slow Jacks because he doesn't have his powers to see. And all he can do is his finger. He's mixing up coffee or something. And Miss Holloway comes walking down the street, and she almost gets hit by a car. It's a setup to see if Jack still had his speed, which he doesn't. They bring him in anyway, and they tell him that he has to train these kids for a certain amount of money. And surprisingly, the fact that he's being paid to do this is never brought up to the kids. There's not a scene where they find out he's being paid. He's only doing this being paid. So, because he's being paid, and they get mad and walk away. No, that never happens. Never happens. There are some scenes that are out of continuity. So, if you like Smash Mouth, you'll like this movie. Because they have Smash Mouth on this soundtrack like completely. Even doing a cover of Under Pressure, which is weird because when I looked at the soundtrack on Wikipedia, they had the original version on that soundtrack, but here there's the Smash Mouth version, and it's not as good. There are a few montages. The weird thing is there's a montage of them training. It's one of the first montages where they show. So later they introduce Mr. Pibb, which is this robot that the original team got to know. Oh, by the way, the original team. Let me talk about the original team quick. They show a picture of them later, and these are the actors that they got to play the original team. So you got Kevin Zegers as Concussion. Kevin Zegers, The Hollow, and an episode of Smallville. Alexis Bledel. I don't know the other people's names, but Alexis Bledel from Gilmore Girls. Wilmer Valderrama, Fez from That 70s Show, and Devin Aoki, Suki from Too Fast, Too Furious. And looks like they used a young picture of Tim Allen there as well. Yeah. Also, I want to point out that, yes, all of the 4 main characters, main key characters are white, but the original team wasn't, so it's not a race thing. But yeah, so they have a montage. Oh, I didn't get finished my first point. So they show these four. These are the only four they show at the beginning, giving us a little backstory to them a little bit. But then they have a montage of showing off powers. And there's a few other kids there, but surprisingly, the four that we saw earlier are the only ones chosen. And yes, all the other ones that weren't chosen are not white, but that has nothing to do with it because there were non-white members of the original team, so they just have stupid powers like bullets come out of their nose, fart powers. Come on, they have terrible powers, right? I mean, the ones that are chosen are too specific. Like Dylan can turn invisible, sure. Princess is real strong. Summer can move things with her mind. She's not an invisible woman here. And Tucker can grow real big. By the way, Tucker's fat, and they show this by having a pillow underneath his shirt, and he's always eating candy. And as a fat person, I am not bothered in the slightest because that's how fat people act. I was a fat kid. I didn't have a pillow in my shirt, but I was eating candy. Tell me I'm wrong. That's how fat kids are. I was that, okay? Sometimes I still am. I get candy. Ooh, piece of candy. But yeah. So yeah, they're the only ones picked. So there's a montage here, right? The out of continuity stuff. There's a montage. During the montage, you see Mr. Pibb and the Flying Saucer. However, the kids are not introduced to Mr. Pibb and the Flying Saucer till after that montage. But Mr. Pibb moving around the Flying Saucer is right there. But then later he introduces them to Mr. Pibb and then the Flying Saucer. Like it's out of continuity. There's also a scene later in the movie that also feels out of continuity. Because at one point, the screen says we have 2 days. Then, about, 10, 15 minutes of the film go by. And it's been a few days to where then when Rip Torn asks Chevy Chase how much time we have, he goes, 48 hours. I'm like, no, it can't be 48 hours. That was, when you showed the screen a little while ago, it was 2 days. And then, all of a sudden, a couple scenes later, he's here. And I went, I feel like that's out of order. Like, there are scenes that are not edited in the right order. That, like, there's something. It just doesn't make any sense. You know? And, of course, Jack doesn't want to be there because he doesn't care about the team. His team died. He doesn't care about any of this, but he's getting paid. And he doesn't care. He takes him out on a spaceship ride to go to Wendy's. Tucker tries to lick a cow because fat. But you know what? You can't eat raw meat because that's not good for you. So they go to Wendy's. I laughed at the joke. It's an obvious joke, but I laughed at it. 6 Frosties. What are you guys going to drink? I laughed. You don't want to have 6 Frosties or you're going to get too big. But yeah. And so eventually they do train their powers. Dylan's always trying to escape, so he's going to this timeout room. Where apparently he can't just make himself look invisible and confuse the people. I guess it wouldn't work. They'd know he's invisible anyway. Maybe there's no powers. Don't work in there. But, yeah. But eventually Jack comes around to these kids. To liking them. To treating them like a family. And then the shit hits the fan. Because, Jack finds out the truth. Because in a strange turn, Dylan can somehow has this power to see through corridors. And move his way through the building and find and listen to certain conversations. And I'm sitting here thinking, shouldn't that be one of Summer's powers? She's the telepath, right? She can move things with her mind. Shouldn't she have the mind's eye thing and not him? He just goes invisible. I think they gave that power to the wrong kid. But he has it, and that's how they find out the concussion is coming back. Jack thinks Miss Holloway is in on it, but she's not. She has no idea. And he confronts the general, and then the general just throws him in the clink. Here's another issue I have. I don't know if it's a continuity issue, but it's an issue. So he shows them a secret area. They don't shut the fuck up. But he shows them a secret area that the cameras can't find. Tells them to stay there. However, because the general, Rip Torn, is going to use the Gamma 13 on them. Because he hasn't learned of his failures from before, created an evil person, but no, this is the stuff that's going to help us. Because they're having a little party to kind of treat the kids, and that's when the general freaks the fuck out and is like, no. This is not how we're going to do things. In the morning, I'm going to issue the Gamma 13. And, and yes, I know a lot of it, like, if they actually trained, they would be more ready, but it's a kid's movie. Just lay off it, okay? Yes, there could be more training in it, but that's fine. But yeah, so he hides them in the secret area that the cameras can't find, and then he goes to talk to the general. The general throws him in the clink, and then we cut to prepare them for the Gamma 13 and put it in there, and you see Dylan saying, using his mind's eye trick to be like, oh, they're loading up. But they're not in a hiding place. They're in another place waiting for the rest of them. Miss Holloway comes to get them, and I'm like, wait, why did they move from the hiding place that no one knew was there and the cameras can't find? Why did they move from that? Because we need the characters to be taken so that they can save Jack. I feel like the writers wrote themselves into a circle by having them in a place where nobody knows and is hidden from the cameras. So all of a sudden they're just not in the hiding place that they'd be safe. No, but Miss Holloway reveals she has powers. Rainbow breath. Saves them. They save Jack. And again, I'm with Jack because, like, Princess uses her powers to knock the door. He's like, there's a button that says open. Yeah. So they sneak and they get they get in the space shuttle with Mr. Pibb. They fly off and they go to the location where concussion is going to be. And Jack is going to do it on his own. But he has no powers. And it's not till Cindy, that's her name, is in trouble that she's about to get hit by a concussion. And that's when his powers manifest. Because he didn't have anything to use them for, apparently is what he says. So then his plan is, I'll take care of him. He runs all the way back to the lab to get the suit that they showed earlier. Why wasn't it just on the spaceship? Like, I can take care of him. Then Miss Holloway comes out. You'll need this. Why wasn't it just on the spaceship? Sorry. Because we need to have... This part kind of made me roll my eyes, because the only reason we do this is for a little more comedy for the kids, right? Because he runs off really, really fast, and he trips. Ooh, fall down. Boom, boom, doop, 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 doop. And then runs, and then gets his thing, and it comes back. He's got the suit. Don't like the helmet. The suit's kind of just a plain black suit. But the kids' suits aren't better. They're just white. They were yellow before, now they're just white. Really? The original suits were red. I should mention that despite Jack being a little brother, he's now the older brother, because apparently being trapped in the vortex doesn't age you. Or they just wanted to use Kevin Zegers and didn't want to hire an older actor. Who knows? They're supposed to fire this net. It doesn't work. And again, I got to point it out to Chevy Chase. They're like, prepare the second net. That's an excellent idea, sir. If we had a second net. I laughed at that. I thought it was funny. But, So the kids use their powers together to distract him, while eventually Jack is able to go round and around really fast, and this time close it in and take his powers away. I guess is how it works. And this turns him good, and he introduce. This is a little iffy. He starts introducing them to the kids that were just kicking his ass. So, oh, nice to meet you, and Miss Holloway, nice to meet you. And they're all just gonna walk off together as one big happy family before the general comes. What do you think you're doing? And eventually he just zooms in front of him like, oh, and Rip Torn look like, oh shit, face, Rip Torn always has the that kind of authoritative thing. I think of Freddy Got Fingered. I haven't seen the whole movie, but I know some of the lines thanks to Eric. I should be able to eat a chicken sandwich if I want to. You eat that goddamn roast beef or you can go to bed. That's a pretty good Rip Torn commercial impression. You eat that goddamn roast beef or you can go to bed. Zelina. No, yeah. Yeah. Rest in peace, Rip Torn. But yeah, to throw him out. Oh shit. Everything is fine now. And the kids are now going to school. Despite that they were from different places before. Summer and Dylan are in the same school now, apparently, and they're dating. She's on the cheerleading team and able to hold everyone up with her powers. Which apparently is not cheating, although I guess if you shoot cheer competitions, it would be cheating, but it is cheating anyway. But he comes up with a rose, and she's still holding him up. Tucker is on the soccer team, which is absolutely cheating. He's the goalie. That's absolutely cheating. You can't use superpowers. That is cheating. They would never lose. There's no way they'd legally be able to do that. And Princess is acting going to play as Rapunzel and pulls the little boy up because she's so strong. I laughed at that. And, so now they're a team, a family. Average, ordinary superhero. Plays on the, and it comes to an end. And I was worried about the disc because this had a whole bunch of gunk on it. It's one of those, I lost the case, and then it sat on a counter for a while and got goop on it. Then I just threw it in a drawer. And so I recently cleaned it up because I wanted to do this and another one that had gunk on it. And there was only one part that it froze at for just a little bit. The rest was fine. I was surprised it worked. I thought I thought for sure I was going to have to make another video where I went, well, this doesn't work, so I had to pick the next one. But no, it's there. And you know what? I'm going to say this is a low, pretty good. Is it as good or better than Sky High? Hell no. But it's not as bad as people say it is, man. Yes, there's some stupid shit in there, but I love me some stupid shit. Okay, I get a laugh out of some of this stuff. Chevy Chase is still comedy gold. All these years later, he's not falling down. Courtney Cox falls down a lot. Yes, some of the jokes are repetitive, like, look, I'm fat, candy, pillow. Oh, there is one joke that kind of made me go, what? Some of the jokes that Tim Allen does, like, when the general gets all angry, he's like, and he goes in to break up the dance, he's like, Tim Allen goes, God, for a straight guy, you're dramatic. It's like, I don't think that joke would work right now, but, yeah. That's a joke that happened. And he's also obsessed with the green dress that Miss Holloway had on earlier. He's a little creepy with that. But other than that, yeah, I think it's, show the kids, It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. Show the kids. The kids will like it. If you don't like it, at least the kids will, right? Kids, they like anything in front of them, right? But yeah, so, what are your thoughts on Zoom Academy of Superheroes? So, share, share, and subscribe. Again, that name still doesn't make any sense, but they were trying to copy Sky High, so they had to have Academy of Superheroes. There's only 4 of them, for God's sake. There was a whole school before. Let's find out what the next movie's going to be, shall we? I want to try to get one more done tonight, so we'll see. And it is, let's try to read it here. That's a long one. Okay. Mike and Dave need wedding dates. Oh. Oh. Excuse me.